Dave is a 1993 comedy film directed by Ivan Reitman, written by Gary Ross, and starring Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver. Frank Langella, Kevin Dunn, Ving Rhames, and Ben Kingsley appear in supporting roles. Plot: Dave Kovich runs a temporary employment agency in Georgetown, Washington, D.C., and has a side job impersonating President Bill Mitchell. He is requested by Secret Service agent Dwayne Stevenson to make an appearance as the president at a hotel. Dave assumes it is a matter of security, but it is really to cover up Mitchell's extramarital affair with a White House staffer. Mitchell suffers a severe stroke during the rendezvous, leaving him in a coma. White House Chief of Staff Bob Alexander and Communications Director Alan Reed convince Dave to continue impersonating the president. They tell him that Vice President Gary Nance is mentally unbalanced. Only Bob, Alan, the Secret Service, and the medical staff know of the switch. First Lady Ellen Mitchell leads a separate life, rarely seeing the president. The public is notified that Mitchell has had a minor circulatory problem of the head, with Dave established as president. Bob and Alan send Nance on a 12-nation goodwill tour of Africa and implicate him in a savings and loan fraud. Once Nance is forced to resign, Bob plans for Dave to nominate him as vice president, whereupon Mitchell will have a more serious stroke and Bob will ascend to the presidency. Dave's enthusiasm revives Mitchell's popularity. He visits a homeless shelter with Ellen, who does not understand why he has taken a sudden interest. Bob forges Mitchell's veto of a funding bill that includes the shelter, ostensibly for budget reasons. Bob offhandedly tells Dave, who was confronted about the veto by Ellen, that if he can cut $650 million from the federal budget he can keep the shelter. Dave has his accountant friend Murray Bloom help him rewrite the budget so that the project may be reinstated. A seething Bob is unable to stop him because he does it publicly in front of the press. Suspecting that he is not really her husband, Ellen tricks Dave into revealing the truth. Dave and Dwayne show her bill on life support in the White House basement. She and Dave decide to leave the White House. However, after a night out, they realize all the good they could still do and decide to return. Dave forces Bob to resign while threatening to go public, then announces a plan to find a job for every American who wants work. Nance returns from Africa and confronts Dave about the savings and loan scandal, insisting that they both know there is no merit to the allegations. He also tells him that the Jobs Initiative is a wonderful idea but the scandal will make it difficult to pass. Dave talks with Ellen about how Nance is a good and decent man. Realizing what is planned, Ellen tells Dave that she doesn't want to lose him. Bob reveals Mitchell's involvement in the savings and loan scandal. In a joint session of Congress, Dave admits to Mitchell's role in the scandal, but introduces evidence proving that Bob was the mastermind and Nance was not involved. Bob, watching the session on TV with friends, realizes Alan has betrayed him. During the speech, Dave fakes a stroke and makes a switch with the real Mitchell in an ambulance en route to the hospital. Nance becomes acting president under the terms of the 25th Amendment and is sworn in as president 5 months later when Mitchell passes away. Bob and 8 other members of the Mitchell administration are indicted on 34 charges 2 days after Dave's Jobs Initiative passes. Dave decides to run for city council and Ellen comes to the office to volunteer. As they embrace, Dwayne stands guard outside the office door. Cast: Kevin Kline as Dave Kovich, President William Harrison Mitchell, Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Mitchell, Frank Langella as Bob Alexander, Kevin Dunn as Alan Reed, Ving Rhames as Dwayne Stevenson, Ben Kingsley as Vice President, President Gary Nance, Tom Duggan as Jerry, Charles Grodin as Murray Bloom, Faith Prince as Alice, Laura Linney as Randy, Stephen Root as Don Durenberger, Ralph Manzer as White House barber, Bonnie Hunt as White House tour guide, Anna Eva Smith as Mrs. Travis, Charles Hallahan as policeman, Stefan Jirash as House Majority Leader. Cameos: politicians Senator Christopher Dodd, Senator Tom Harkin, Senator Howard Metzenbaum, Judge Abner J. McVer, Speaker of the House Tip O'Neill, Senator Paul Simon, Senator Alan K. Simpson, media personalities Frank Mankiewicz, Fred Barnes, Eleanor Clift, Bernard Kalb, Larry King, Michael Kinsley, Morton Kondracker, Jay Leno, Chris Matthews, John McLaughlin, Robert D. Novak, Richard Reeves, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ben Stein, Oliver Stone, Kathleen Sullivan, Jeff Tackett, Helen Thomas, Nina Totenberg, Sander Vanaker, John Yang. Production. Producer Lauren Schuler Donner and screenwriter Gary Ross had known each other since taking a Stella Adler class in the 1970s, and in 1988 Ross told Schuler Donner his idea for Dave. She approved it, and after the idea was rejected by the studio she was contracted to, Warner Brothers bought the project. Ross wrote the script while working on the Michael Dukakis presidential campaign. Production waited 3 years for Schuler Donner to be released from her contract and for director Ivan Reitman to become available. Kevin Kline was hired to play the protagonist, as Reitman considered him to have a presidential look, and be an actor who was both dramatically strong and was light on his feet, as Kline would not only be playing a triple role but the film was a comedy that dealt with very serious subject matter. Reitman then called Sigourney Weaver, with whom he had worked in Ghostbusters, for the First Lady role. Ross was present for production, as he was interested in starting a directing career as well. The film's Oval Office set was reused more than 25 times, for television shows and films like The Pelican Brief, Hot Shots, Part 2 and Absolute Power. Release. Reception. Dave was met with critical acclaim and has a 94% rating based on 54 reviews collected at Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus on the site states, Ivan Reitman's refreshingly earnest political comedy benefits from an understated, charming script and a breezy performance by Kevin Kline. Box office. Dave debuted No. 2 at the box office, behind Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. It later jumped to No. 1 in its second weekend. In total, Dave made over $63 million in the domestic box office, making it a financial success. Accolades. Ross was nominated for an Academy Award for his screenplay. Kline's performance was nominated for a Golden Globe Award. Charles Grodin received the American Comedy Award for Funniest Supporting Actor. Then-President Bill Clinton approved of the film, giving Ross a framed script which Clinton autographed, writing that it was a funny, often accurate lampooning of politics, and a picture of Clinton holding a Dave mug. American Film Institute recognition. AFI's 100 Years, 100 Laughs, nominated.